The Brave Person of Boles. It was a beautiful summer on Waldron. Jaime was enjoying watering flowers, when suddenly, all over the island, there was not a moment's peace. It can only mean one thing. Riley had arrived. Jaime told Riley he didn't need to be so cruel. But Riley just laughed. It said only nice people are nice. He challenged Jaime to a race. When they got over there, Jaime and Riley are prepared. Then they were both ready. The race began. While they were racing, Riley got his axe and started chasing Jaime. Luckily, Jaime found some bushes to hide. Riley didn't see him. Jaime was sad that Riley will win the race. Then he heard a voice in the forest. It was a stranded man he never seen before. His name was Brock. His home was an island far away, where they call him the Brave Person of Boles. He had came to Waldron long time ago, but had been so lonely and been living in the forest. He was worried if Mayor David had found him stranded, he would get rid of. Jaime promised his new friend that he will make sure to make him the Brave Person of Boles again. So Jaime returned to the Waldron Hospital for a checkup. That evening, Jaime told his friends about his new friend. They all agreed to help Brock. The next day, at the hospital, Jaime saw some apples in a bowl. Candace said he could take them. Jaime went straight to Brock. Brock was happy to see Jaime with some apples and started eating them. Siribar kindly agreed to do some of Jaime's work so Jaime could help Brock. Siribar knew that he had to be very careful not to let Riley find out about Brock or he will try to get rid of him. So Siribar lifted some of the bricks. He did see a loose brick in the path. Siribar tripped on the loose brick and hurt his knees. Jaime took him back to the hospital. Later, Siribar was soon better, and Jaime told Candace about Brock. Candace told him she has more stuff for Brock. If only they could carry them to his hideout place. Mayor David was confused why the people were acting strange, but as long as the work was done, he didn't mind. Siribar was right to worry about Riley. He knew Jaime was up to something and started watching his every move. Jaime couldn't visit Brock without Riley noticing, but he had an idea. He could ask Siribar to take some clothes to Brock. But first, they both had to run away from Riley so he wouldn't hear their plan. Siribar collected the clothes and took it to Brock. He was amazed by the stranded man. Brock was very pleased to meet Jaime's best friend. Riley tried to find out what Jaime was up to by asking Ariana, but she wouldn't speak to him until she finished picking up her weeds. While Riley was distracted, Jaime was searching for more clothes for Brock. Suddenly, Riley appeared nearby. Luckily, Melissa saw him first and took him to her house. Riley didn't see a cabinet with a beautiful pot. The pot fell to his head and fainted. He had to return to the hospital, and Jaime and Siribar could spend the rest of the day helping Brock. Next day, Riley exits the hospital and set out to find Jaime. Riley looked around and tried to work out what all the people were doing. He was getting closer to Brock's hiding place. Luckily, Gabe and Groundling were with Brock. and started chasing Riley away from Brock's hiding place. With Riley heading in the wrong direction, Brock's hiding place was safe. Later, Brock was almost feeling brave again. They both left the forest. Then there was trouble. Riley caught up with them. As Brock tried to run faster, he is starting to get cramps. Riley called him a dead body. Jaime was worried that Riley would tell Mayor David. Suddenly, Diego came and called Riley a slow boy. Riley started to chase Diego to the resident service. Standing there was Mayor David. Before Riley could say anything, Mayor David told him off the race and sent him back to work. Jaime hid Brock in the bushes and promised to come and see him as soon as he finished his work. Jaime had to finish his work before he could return to Brock, but he did it as quickly as possible. Later, Brock wasn't feeling brave at all. Jaime decided that he would have to convince Mayor David to help Brock. But now Riley had finished his work too. He was going to tell Mayor David that Brock should be get rid of. Who will tell their story to Mayor David first? Will Jaime beat Riley this time? As they crossed the old bridge, the bridge collapsed. Luckily, Riley was holding on a rope. Jaime arrived at resident service, where he nervously told Mayor David about Brock. He begged him not to get rid of him. Mayor David was amazed and surprised that Jaime would even think he would get rid of Brock. He called him the Brave Person of Boles and ordered him to be in the hospital tomorrow. Next morning, Jaime took Brock to the hospital to be better. A few hours later, the people gasped. Brock looked as brave and set out to rescue Riley. Riley was so grateful that Jaime and Brock had helped him that he said sorry and promised to be a good friend from now on. That night, Jaime came to check on Brock. Brock felt sad and missed his home. Jaime texted Mayor David that Brock was homesick. He agreed that if it would make him happy, Brock could go home. Next morning, Brock was going to the airport. All the friends gathered at the airport to say goodbye. Jaime and Brock don't know when they would meet again. They knew they would never forget each other. The end.